So we have been fielding calls all summer, essentially, on trends. The question, what should I do about this? What do you think about that? What's your advice on, this visit or this institution or applying for this particular university? So we've been fielding all these calls, and it's funny because much like years in the past, the answer was oftentimes it depends. And Moira is very well known for saying that it depends, and especially this year, it's like I think she made a reference to like it depends on steroids, because so many things are changing, as you already know, and they're changing quickly. So I want to cover a couple of things that you might be asking. One is admissions. There is not just a number of factors happening at each college and university regarding admissions. So a couple things that you may be wondering or might be thinking about. For your class, could there be some advantages to admissions in the upcoming year? Well, perhaps, right? So we've seen, and I should preface this by saying, and many of you already know, we're college counseling nerds. And I think that in some ways that's what makes our department so incredible, is that we're always trying to stay on top of these trends in regards to professional development, reading inside higher ed, all of these things. So this is pretty much the latest and greatest at this very moment, so who knows when that'll change. But in regards to admission at this moment, when we look at what could the advantage be, we talked about international students. A lot of people have been referring to that. The number of international students has decreased at a number of universities with everything going on and travel restrictions and whatnot. And this year for our current seniors, we did see some admissions decisions that were made because of the decline, if you will, in international students. So we think, oh, perhaps that is an advantage for our current senior class, right? Wonderful, that could be fantastic, right? However, then there is the flip side of that. We have a number of students that have decided at some universities to take a gap year. What's that mean? Well, what that means is that if last year's seniors took a gap year, they plan on being part of the freshman class this fall. So essentially the class fall of 2021. So that means the class you're applying for as a senior. Therefore, spots have already been taken in the fall class of 2021 at the college or university if those universities or those students, if you will, took gap years. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that every college and university is going to be really just different. So the it depends answer still stands. The admission trends are changing, they're changing fast. We really at this point do not know the numbers regarding different universities and colleges and how that's actually going to play a role in your senior year. So what we do know is that means we want to take every step to apply and obviously apply in a way that is most advantageous for admissions and scholarship based on your universities, which means you have to be really active in that process, right? When it comes to the essay and the resume and the recommendation letters and testing, which we'll talk about. All of these factors are going to be pretty important because we really do want you to have an incredible application. You're blessed, you're fortunate because you have an incredible team and an institution that is really going to support you throughout that process. But just know that right now that it depends is really true in regards to trends, if you will, in admissions. Testing. That was another thing that we just were fielding lots of emails and calls for. So, as many of you already know, a number of schools have gone test optional. Personally, if you've worked with me, you know I'm not a fan of the test to begin with, so quite frankly, I think it's lovely. However, the reality is that's going to be an adjustment for a lot of institutions, especially schools that have not been test optional before. They're quite frankly not even sure as to how they're going to review applications at this point. So benefits would be that you should not be stressed. The test should not be causing more anxiety in this process, because at this point, a number of schools are test optional. With the exception of some engineering and nursing programs, and maybe some of those specialized programs, a number of schools are test optional. So that should give you a little sigh of relief if you were not able to get signed up for a test or something like that beyond March, if you will. However, for some students, you may be considering trying to test again this fall. And some schools, you know, you would have to look up each school, that it depends, in regards to seeing kind of if their specialized program is still looking for testing. And again, if it's advantageous for you to test again. However, at the end of the day, just remember there's a lot of people out there that are just trying to test. So testing centers, quite frankly, are filling up, and they're filling up fast. So there's a reason that the schools went test optional. So just keep that in the back of your mind, because if you don't need to test, truly, and this is a great conversation to have with your college counselor, then that's okay too. You know, at the same time, I think there's just this sense of of integrity, quite frankly. Like if you already have a score that is great for the schools that you're applying to, or if, quite frankly, you just don't need a score, then maybe there's someone out there that does need that opportunity. So I think it's just time to really assess where you're at in regards to their test optional policies and testing at this time. And demonstrated interest. So, as you know, we love to push for you to visit college campuses and to meet with college reps, because historically demonstrated interest, so college fair, college visits, college reps on our campus, all of those things have been evaluated in the admissions process. So if you did not get to a college visit in person, although there are schools that are starting to open up their in-person college visits, which is wonderful, so you might have an opportunity to do that still. But if you did not, there is opportunities, whether those are virtual tours, virtual college fairs, emailing college reps is probably going to be more important now than ever before, but finding other ways to communicate with the colleges that you are looking at potentially to attend, or just ultimately plan on applying to. At this point, I would say demonstrated interest is still important. It's just important in a different way. So those virtual visits, those virtual college fairs, emailing college reps, calling college reps, whatever it might be in regards to communicating that's safe, that allows you an opportunity to learn more about the college, but also for the college to know that you are really interested in attending that university. Remember, with the trends changing so fast, we really want you to find that perfect fit institution. So do your research. That way you can apply to the school in whatever way is most advantageous for admission, scholarship, and so forth. So there you go on hot topics and trends.